We have a very special guest in studio today. He is a U.S. Army veteran, a former defense contractor, a loan officer with Citibank, and a brown belt at Revive Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the great and powerful Dan Shucart. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us,
man. Here, man.
Yeah, man. We're really happy to have you. I've been looking very forward to this one. You have just so many attributes that like fit the structure of our show. You're a dad. You're a veteran. You've got so many great things, that we can talk about. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Lived an interesting life.
Yeah. So, for the people out there that don't know you, what kind of interesting life have you led?
Yeah. So it all started, I went into the Army. I went into the 82nd Airborne Infantry, was following in my grandpa's footsteps. So I'm the fourth generation actually to go into the 82nd Airborne.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I did that. I did Iraq and Afghanistan while I was in Iraq in 2005 and then Afghanistan in 2007. Got out, swore I'd never go back again. And then actually my dad got on at Blackwater. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Blackwater, kind of a famous company. That he got actually on at Blackwater and got me in touch with a recruiter. And I was going to Whips 3 months later and I was out of here.
What's Whips?
So Whips is, so one of their main programs that they used to have was with the State Department. So it's the State Department's training, like vetting program to be able to get onto that program. The Worldwide Personal Protective Services used to be WPPS, and now I believe it's WPS.
Okay.
So it's basically like this month-long vetting course that you have to go through that starts with a PT test is like the first out the gate. That's where you usually lose most people.
Or they're not fit enough.
That's exactly right.
Kind of like buds or whatever.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So you got that first, then they're shooting, and then you get into the protection side of it. So that's what most of that is. And that's what I did for most of my career was that personal protection stuff. And so you work basically how to run a diamond and all these different scenarios that you would have to be doing when you're dealing with these diplomats. And so ultimately what you're doing is protection work for different State Department diplomats.
Okay.
So that's where I got started. I did that.
Was that more local or was that abroad that you were doing?
So that was in Iraq, Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah. So I spent ultimately about 15 years in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I used to joke and say that I
citizen over there now.
Yeah, so I used to joke and say that I lived in Afghanistan and vacationed in St. Louis. And I used to say it as a joke, but now looking back, I really did because I did my Iraq, Afghanistan in the Army. And then when I started contracting, I was gone 9 months out of every year. It was 3 months on, 1 month off, 3 months on, 1 month off every year from 2008 to 2019.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so it was, that was in that time frame, I was there for 9 years, home for 6, I believe is what the breakup was. So I was there more than I was in the United States for 15 years, man.
Oh, wow. And what's it, you see the way it's, shown on TV and things like that, but what's it like living there?
So it's an interesting thing because I got to live both sides of the war. So I got to live the being in the Army, direct action, infiltrating cities, all that type of what you think of war is, right? And then I went to being a contractor and you're just living, at least my contracting I did. There's definitely different versions of contracting. You just live out in town. And that is where I grew a love for Afghanistan. It became my second home. Again, horrible things happened there. I have horrible memories from there, but also again, I was there more than I'm more comfortable there than I am here. And it's, I honestly loved it. Again, there were some really awful parts.
And what city were you living in?
Yeah, so I was mainly out of Kabul.
Okay.
But then that's where we were headquarters out of. And then we would do missions all over the country.
Okay.
When I first started contracting, one of the funniest things, or at least to me, was just an insane thing when I first got there is, so again, my experience with the Afghanistan before was war, right?
Right.
And then I get into contracting and they give you this packet of, basically instructions for when you show up. And we're kind of skipping ahead here. So I started with Blackwater. I can explain how basically they lost their contract in Iraq. I ended up having to get on with a different company to get into Afghanistan, a company named Special Operations Consulting. So anyway, so my letter that they have, so again, you fly into the Kabul civilian airport. You're not flying into a military base. You're not flying. I mean, I am literally flying.
Walking around like a
just civilian. A normal civilian. I have to go through their customs. I have to go through their everything. And this letter says that there should be a team there to pick you up. But if they're not, here's the address. You can just hop in a taxi. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Last time I was here, these motherfuckers were trying to kill me. Yeah. I'm not just going to hop in a taxi. Now, looking back, how well I know Kabul better than I know Afghanistan. I would feel pretty comfortable doing that. Well, maybe not now because the Taliban run it, but back then, looking back, I would have felt comfortable doing that now. But yeah, so you just show up and you live out in villas in town. Again, there are contracting companies that they live on bases, and it's what you would think, right? But the companies that I worked with and that we lived in villas out in town. I was staying at a hotel in Kabul until they had room at the house that I was going to be living in. Oh wow. Yeah, it was a gnarly. I mean, so and again, we can get to this type of stuff, but like I've stayed at hotels in Kandahar that literally were blown up the next day because we were staying there and we just happened to leave early enough.
No kidding.
We did stupid shit. Like it was even for contracting, it was a very, very abnormal situation. So basically we went to the gyms out in town or maybe we drive to a base and go to a gym at one of the bases, but you're just up amongst it, man. Going to, they have restaurants for expats out in town, foreigners out in town.
Is that what they call them, expats?
Yeah. Yeah. And so now again, even long before the Taliban took over, those had all been blown up and they didn't last, but there for a long time, man, you could just go to an Italian restaurant out in town. It was, it was underground and you had to like get to, it wasn't a real well-known spot, but yeah, it was an interesting time, man.
That's crazy.
It really was, man.
I mean, did you feel like even after that part of the war and you're there on the contracting side, did you still feel like those people didn't want you there?
Yeah. Yes and no. Yeah. Yes and no. So obviously there's a mass majority that didn't want us there, but there was also a good majority that did. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I would imagine you stuck out like a sore thumb. You're
tall
I was
as fuck.
Say,
tall.
And I was a lot bigger than I am now.
I was going to say, when you first showed up to Revive, like you were like
I was a big kid.
boy.
Yeah, I was 265 back then.
What do you weigh now?
Like 208, 209. But I jokingly say I'm on that cancer diet now because I got cancer. So who cares about that? It's just now I'm down to like I weighed this morning. I was down to 208.
Whoa.
So I've lost a good chunk since then, but I'm also in way better shape.
Yeah.
I was a big old meathead that could barely breathe for, 30 seconds into a round. I was dying.
Right.
But yeah, so we all stuck out like a sore thumb. And that's one of those things I always found comical is these guys, they would dress up in the man dress and they'd put the hat on and it's like, bro, you're not hiding from anybody, man. You stand out like a fucking sore thumb, homie. But whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah, it makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to fit in.
And there are some big Afghans. There's a few. They're not, most of them are smaller guys, but there are a few bigger Afghans.
Yeah.
Maybe get a good tan going or something. I can fit in a little bit.
Dye your beard.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Now, did you do you speak any of the language? Or?
No, which is a shame, and pretty fucking shows how stupid I am that I don't. Like I literally know Tasha Kaur, which is thank you, and a few other things, and it's kind of embarrassing that I don't know more of the language spending. But most of the time, especially in Kabul,
around people,
you got interpreters, and then even when you don't, especially in Kabul. A lot of them speak English. There's a good chunk of them, and then really like. Everything else in your interactions that you're having, you can kind of talk to each other without talking to each other. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing with Afghans that Americans have such a problem with is they Americans try, you see it all the time where they try and do it like a normal American does. You fucking, let me in, listen to and dude, they are a very proud people. Mm-hmm. You do not, they immediately will shut down on you. So as long as you come up, hey, Tashakur, how's your family? Like all that type of stuff, you can get so much further, and you don't really need to have
confrontation,
you know what I mean? Or really too much of an interaction with them. Just trying to get through checkpoints and things like that. As long as you're kind most of the time, you can get through those. It's when you start showing your ass and acting like an asshole that it's going to become difficult for you.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. And Iraq and Afghanistan are very different in that respect. Very much the same, and they're all proud people. Mm-hmm. Very much. But Iraq, you ran a lot heavier in Iraq.
What do you mean by that?
A lot more aggressive. Like your motorcade. So a motorcade is like a convoy. It's another word for a convoy. So the way they run motorcades in Iraq, or the way they used to, is very tight and fast, all right next to each other and as fast as they can, pushing people out of the way, moving to try and get out of there as quick as possible. Afghanistan is completely different. You run it in very much a loose motorcade. And even in Iraq, so there's been times I have a story I could tell I wasn't involved in, but just proves how much a loose motorcade will save your life. So a tight motorcade is great because you're moving quick. If a bomb blows up, you're hopefully off of the X before it hits. They have a hard time timing it because you're moving so fast. But the problem is if one hits, you don't know how everybody. It could blow up a lot of people, and it could really, disable your motorcade with a loose formation. And again, I won't go into the whole story because I wasn't even there, so it's not fair of me to even tell the story. But ultimately, one of the guys that I became good friends with and I worked with in Afghanistan when they were in Iraq, they were running a loose formation, and that lead vehicle got hit. And because they were running such a loose formation, they didn't even know the other vehicle was with them. So those guys were able to move up and actually take out the threat because the dudes didn't even know. They were so focused on the lead vehicle that these guys were able to come out and clear out the situation and ultimately save those guys' lives.
So they're like way behind them.
Yeah,
not way, but they're several car lengths.
Yeah, and again, it's most of the areas that you're running in, especially if you're running in the city, are such a overpopulated, holy shit. People like everywhere. It's very easy, even 4 car lengths away, to look like you're not with each other. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And obviously you could pick every scenario apart and say, well, that's not going to work. You could debate this stuff forever. But in this instance, it ultimately saved that my buddy Tug's life. Yeah, it really did. So Afghanistan is very much like that, or at least that's how we operated in Afghanistan as contractors. You want to try and go unnoticed. Because if you're running like that in Afghanistan, that family that you just ran off the road that otherwise was not letting the Taliban put an IED in or operate in their area is now like, well, fuck these guys. Yeah. Let them go ahead, put something there. They just ran my wife and kid off the road. Let them fucking blow them up. You know what I mean? So that's why we were very much of that low profile, is what we call it, and running that way. And to us, that was usually the safest way.
So are you guys like in very like inconspicuous looking vehicles, or like?
So yes and no, sometimes. So we almost ran around exclusively in Land Cruisers. And again, just to be clear, this is all contracting time. Yes. We were running around in Land Cruisers. Now we did have newer Land Cruisers sometimes, and then we had older ones. It depended on how low profile we wanted to be. But the nice thing about any Toyota is you could look up a picture of Kabul, Afghanistan, and all you're going to see is Toyotas. It's literally the only vehicle. I mean, you might see 1 or 2 other vehicles.
They're reliable.
But it's like the funniest thing is you'd hear a bolo, which is like you're a warning for a vehicle to look out for, right? Or something like that. And you'd hear a white Toyota Corolla and you're like, oh, thanks. That helps. Every vehicle out here is a fucking white Toyota Corolla. So sometimes, yes, they were newer. So they did stand out a lot, a lot more than they could have, but were so many that it still did. Someone knew you were important if you were in a newer Land Cruiser, but they didn't know how important you might be.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Okay, that does.
Yeah.
No, I mean, is it as kind of, because it comes across as like a very poor country? Is it as poor as it may come across in what you see? It's extremely
poor.
Is it?
Yeah, it's extremely poor. Even Kabul, which again is their capital city, barely has, sewage. I mean, you literally will drive down the road and they have these like ditches on the side where the sewage is, and there'll just be guys digging it out and putting it up on the road to then come collect. You know what I mean? And this is their capital city. But then you get out to the middle of nowhere, and it's genuinely like walking back into biblical times. Like, I mean, that's the best way to describe it. I mean, they're still wearing the same things they were wearing 2,000 years ago. And they are so separated from each other. That's what I always say. Like, the thought process of trying to unite Afghanistan in particular, again, Iraq is very, there's a lot of big differences about Iraq. Obviously, they're similar, but very different. The idea of trying to unite a place like Afghanistan, it's laughable. Because what I always say is you have a bunch of countries within inside of a country. These
Kinda
people,
like us.
for sure, but even more so because they're so disconnected. They literally, so Karzai was the main president of Afghanistan for most of the time that I was in Afghanistan, if not almost all the time I was in Afghanistan. You would go to these villages, they wouldn't even know who he is. He's the president of their country, and they have no clue who he is. That's how disconnected each one of these places is. They have their elder, and that's all they give a shit about. And or whether there might be some warlord that runs a bigger area. But as far as that village, those elders that run that village or that elder, that's it. That's their power source. That's all they care about. They could give a fuck less about who Karzai is.
Why? Well, they probably don't have, the cable internet.
That's exactly right. Now they do have phones, which is super crazy to see. You know, I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and little.
Really?
I have one still from over there, little Nokias.
Okay.
Yeah, and they got
Can't go wrong with a Nokia.
No, you can't, man. They work. They work. They work. Yeah, it was an interesting thing because you would see, literally out in the middle of nowhere, someone talking on a cell phone, and that's, especially back when I was in the Army. We got to deal with that. Yeah. We can't be driving by in a convoy and there's just some dude on a cell phone out there in the middle of nowhere. One of the funniest things I've ever seen is a guy, and it was very obvious that he was set there to watch and call ahead. And he's out there, I shit you not, sweeping the desert. He's got a broom and he's literally sweeping the fucking desert. And it's like, oh yeah, you're really out there sweeping the fucking desert.
Just pushing some sand
that's
around.
Right. That's exactly right. So, those are always things because they will. They'll call ahead and let whoever know. And
hey,
that's
these
exactly
guys are coming up the road.
That's exactly right.
Man.
So you're just on alert just all the time.
All the time.
You have to be.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because you don't even once you've been there for so long, you don't even realize how on alert you are all the time. Really, that's one of the hardest parts about coming home. Is turning that off.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's impossible. Ultimately. I mean, it really is. You learn to deal with it. But to turn it off, one of that saying of, man, you go from 0 to 100 like this. I always tell people, man, I'm idling at 70. You know what I mean? Like there is no 0 to 100. It's easy to get to 100 because I'm at fucking 70, and that's just how there's nothing I can do about it at this point, especially when you're there for that long.
When you spent a third of your life over there.
Exactly. I heard, I saw this post and it was a guy talking about soldiers who, everybody says, oh, it's hard to transition back home. And their outlook was, what home are you? You never knew that home. So many of us left when we were 18. And then for me, I grew up as a man at war from 18 to 34. That's all I knew. And then was just home for these little bursts of time that were ultimately like you're not living in reality. You know what I mean? You're living on vacation. I'm not having to worry about anything. So you're never really getting a taste of the normal world at all. And so that's another one of those things that guys struggle with so much is you're expected to be normal in a world that you never really knew. And it's an unfortunate thing. It's hard to come back. It's hard to come back, but it's what the hell we got to do. We all got our fucking problems. You know what I mean?
Do you still feel, cause you've been removed now since 19.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like you've come off of that, or do you still feel moments where you're?
So it's an interesting thing. So it's kind of both. One, I feel so far removed from that, because it's been so long, but at the same time, it feels like just yesterday. And I still am that person. And I don't think it's ever going to go away. I don't think it can.
And do you think being alert like that has helped you with when it comes to jiu-jitsu and all the training and the competitions and things like that?
Yeah, I would say it definitely helps. I would say it, that is my therapy. I need that hard for so many of us. That isn't a veteran exclusive thing, but like I need that hard fucking horrible thing to do, something to be proud of. And no, I definitely think it helps. I think it helps in my normal life too. It just also has its downsides. Sure. You know what I mean? For instance, with my son, and I know so many of us are like this, but like, I am such an over worrier. My brain only works in worst case scenario. So like I am so overly afraid of everything and anything when it comes to my son specifically. And again, not that we aren't all that way, but like my brain immediately, exactly. And so my brain immediately thinks of the worst thing that could possibly happen. So it has it's good and it's bad. You know what I mean? It keeps me constantly aware, and it keeps me aware in a way is passively aware. You know what I mean? Like I said, somewhat you don't even notice you're doing it because that's just how your brain works. So it is a good thing because I'm constantly aware of my surroundings and what's going on. So again, it has its goods and its bads.
Well, do you think that's something more people should work on in their lives?
Oh, without question. Yeah, without question. And not in a way, like I tell my wife, and she's so good. She's gotten so awesome at it. And
were you guys together?
No, we weren't. So we got together in 2015, which is, it was, there for a long time, I wasn't a meant to be type person, but I very much became a meant to be type person. And we met in 2015. It was right after my best friend Walt got killed when we were ambushed. And she had just lost her dad a few years before. To ALS. And it was kind of one of those incredible things where we found each other when we needed each other the most. And so she was a part of it from 15 to 19, but not a bunch of it. You know what I mean? There was a bunch that she wasn't a part of. She has very much gotten good at that, being aware. She's almost more aware than I am at this point. She's really good about it. And it's one of those things, back to your question, it's something that I don't think people should live a life of fear, and constant anxiety, but I do think and promote a trying to do it in a passive way. Like I was talking about, just be looking around. While you're doing your thing, you don't have to hyper focus on things. Just while you're doing it, be paying attention. Look at people's eyes, look at people's hands, look at exits, look at different things that shouldn't take a lot out of your day, but help you be aware of your surroundings and what people are doing. Especially when you're walking in crowded areas, you should always be paying attention to people's hands, their eyes, what is going on with that individual. And again, not in a hyper focused, I'm not enjoying my day, just in a, hey, this person's
why do you have his hands in his
pocket? Exactly. Or he does have his hands in his pocket. So I'm going to pay attention and and I'm not saying everybody has to be this way, but like, maybe I'm going to move up closer to my wife and kid because he has his hands in his pockets, just in case, I heard someone the other day, I saw a post about this guy talking about walking in front of his wife and how he does it as a protective manner. And I can agree with that to some point, but in my opinion, walking behind is what you need to do. If you're walking in front of them, anybody can come from behind to do anything. Yeah. But if you're walking behind them, that's that command and control of the situation. Mm-hmm. If I need to move up, I move up. If I'm not, I'm back. And so I can see everything that needs to be seen instead of just taking care of what's in front.
Well, it's like that wolf pack mentality. Like the leader's always leading.
That's exact. That's exactly.
The weaker, older wolves are always in the front.
That's right.
Setting the pace, and they're in the back.
That's exactly right.
Monitoring for any threats.
Yep. And that's the same thing in the military. So a lot of the times your command is running command and control. They have to have the biggest view of the battlefield that they can.
You're your quarterback.
Exactly. Because they have to see as much as they can so that they can make decisions that need to be made. If they're focused in on one thing, they're not in control of the situation. And so it's the same thing. And again, it's not like I'm constantly in this crazy mode. It's just a passive, hey, that's where I walk. I let them walk in front of me and, just keep an eye out, because in my opinion, like I'm sure your guys' is, that's my main job in this world is to protect my wife and kid. It's my most important job that you can possibly think of.
100%. Now, what would you say the biggest difference was between the Army and then contracting?
Very different. Yeah. So I loved the Army. The Army was awesome. I needed the Army to fix who I was. I was a punk kid, and you know, I needed that. But my contracting time was the time I look back at the fondest, because it was, again, it wasn't this rigid, all right, we're living on a base, we got this mission, we go hit it, we come back. That's all you see. You see a very, in my opinion, you don't see a limited part of the country, but in comparison to contracting, you see a limited part of the country because you're enveloped in the lifestyle. I'm living out in town. I'm part of the civilian population for the most part. In the military, you're very disconnected. You go out, you do your mission, and we would be out, you know, we would hit a city and then hold it for 60 days. So, you know, you're out for a while, but it's very, you know, defined. Contracting is not defined. I mean, I went from doing convoy security when I first started to at the same time doing individual protection work to me and one fucking dude, my buddy Drew, in a fucking Hilux driving from Kabul up to Kunduz through the Salang Pass that the Russians built through these mountains, just the two of us by our fucking selves figuring it out and stopping, you know, to get gas at some fucking gas station out in the middle of fucking nowhere, some Afghan gas station. So very different worlds, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I loved that. Like that was, dude, I mean, it was my
fucking movie.
Oh
now.
man, it was fucking, again, very horrible sometimes,
Sure.
but ultimately looking back, some of the fondest times of my life, man. Yeah.
Well, is there any like crazy moment you'd be willing to share?
Yeah.
I don't
Don't
want to talk about anything. Obviously, it's too sensitive.
No. I think talking about things is a good thing. You know, I know a lot of guys don't like to talk about things. I think it's how my brain helps itself. You know, I mean, getting that stuff out, talking about it. I'm sure guys have heard me talk about Walt a million times. Walt, you know, was one of my best friends in the world. And one night we were part of what's called a green on blue. Green on blue is where a Afghan soldier that's supposed to be working with us turns on us.
Oh shit.
And so the unfortunate part about a situation like that is it's a reactive. It's very similar to like an active shooter situation here in the United States. It's a very reactive situation. You know, when you're out, you know, hitting a city, you're being proactive, right? You're moving to the threat. You're engaging the threat first. Here, it's a holy shit, this just happened. Now I have to react to it. And so we were working at the Kia is what they call it. It's Kabul International Airport. And so there's multiple sides of Kabul. There's the Kia, the military side, like the coalition forces side. So the U.S., every different coalition force from across the world, they're coalition forces. Then you have the agency side of it. You have all these, you have the DEA side of it. And then you have the Afghan side of it, the ANA side, the Afghan National Army side of it. And so we were working over there doing protection for these pilots. Basically one night, we were at the hangar. We were transitioning over. Walt and them were leaving, and we were taking over. And we were all standing around bullshitting, talking about the day, blah blah blah. And Walt and them got ready to leave. We were joking like, "Hey, it was Mongolian stir fry night that night." So they were like, "Oh fuck, man, we need to get back so that we can get the good. You know, don't miss out on that good dinner."
Yeah.
So they start to leave, and so me and Brad go to walk away. And
so you guys are in the airport here?
We're in a hangar. Okay. So think about a massive
hangar.
Yeah, it's got a plane inside of it. Okay. So a massive hangar, and we're right outside of it. So we're right outside the hangar. Our two vehicles are there, and there's a bunch of Connexes right here. Okay. Basically, I know the guys, I don't know if they can see it, but there's Connexes here. And then there was a post here for an Afghan soldier to be at. He had been there, you know, they rotate those guys out. That guy in particular had been there probably for about 30 days. And you try and build a rapport with those guys, right? To prevent exactly what ended up happening. And so, we would bring them coffee and blankets and all that, and you try and build this rapport. So anyway, that night, we're all standing around talking. The Connex box is here, and we're standing between the two Land Cruisers, and Walt and them go to leave. And so me and Brad go to take off and go up to the office. And so at this point, this was January 29th of 2015. The things had started changing for contractors at this point. When we first were contracting, it was the Wild West, and you could kind of do whatever the fuck you wanted, Then the military started to crack down on that, or specifically depending on who your client was. And so our client at the time, and the commander that was in charge of the Afghan side of the base, said that no contractors could carry long guns on them all the time. So your M4. Okay. So all we had was our pistols, and we were going up to get our long guns, because then we were going to start getting ready for the night and get the plan for the movement we were going to make. And so we decided to take off. And as we were walking around the side of the plane, all of a sudden it sounded like just cracks right next to going. I mean, it sounded like they were flying right by us. And if I'm being honest, I genuinely, in the split second, it took me a moment by the time I was processing it, Brad was already jumping on the floor, and just seeing him jump made me jump down too. Again, it just happened so fast. So we go ahead and we get on the other side of this plane, and we're trying to figure out where it's coming from, what's going on, what's happened. We're trying to look under the plane. At this point, we don't know how many there are, what's going on, because we were turned away. We were on the other side of the plane when the guy started shooting.
And Walt and they're outside by the cars.
That's right. Yeah, they were right there. So he ultimately was standing behind those Connexes right next to our vehicles. And so ultimately what ended up happening is he came out from behind that Connex and just started spraying and killed them before they even knew what happened. And so, but again, we didn't know any of this at the time. So we're trying to get eyes on, and as we're trying to get eyes on, so I'm behind this box on this side, and Brad is behind kind of a similar, both like cardboard, like wood boxes, right? And so we're trying to get eyes on. The guy starts to come around the front of the plane, and Brad and him make contact. Brad opens fire. He misses. He opens fire on Brad. He shoots Brad in the chest and in the elbow. And I remember watching Brad's elbow explode. And then Brad went down. And as he came around the side of the plane, I could now see him. And so me and him basically got into one of us is going to fucking die right now. And so I came out from behind on one knee. I had my pistol. Again, we didn't have our rifles. He had an M16. And so an M16 in a very small area is very easy to be accurate with. Pistol, yes. A little bit more difficult. And so I came out from behind that. We were just shooting at each other, and thank God I hit him twice in the stomach, and then he fell, and I popped him once in the mouth. And he ultimately, again, at that point, we didn't know if that was the only threat. So again, and I always like to speak about how fucking much of a badass Brad was. And you'll see what I'm saying here as I continue the story. So we go ahead and start moving around the plane. Brad start to move around the back. Again, this whole time, shot in the chest. Armor? No, we did not. Okay. No, again, our body armor was in the vehicle because we were just getting ready for the night. Yeah. We weren't even on mission yet. Yeah. And so, and again, yes, there's Afghans there, and yes, you always need to be aware, but it's supposed to be a secure compound, right? So our shit was in the vehicles. We were going to get our guns, going to get ready for the night. So yeah, we didn't have anything, and that's why Brad was able to get shot in the chest. And again, the fact that he was still moving the way he was moving was mind blowing. And so again, you'll see, so we go ahead and clear around. We realize that he was the only one. We clear the rest of the area. I go to check on the clients. The guys were protected. They thankfully and rightfully, we had trained them well enough. They went back to the spot we called the Alamo. If anything happened, get to the fucking Alamo and hunker the fuck down. And this guy was ultimately headed back towards them. He knew exactly where they were going to be. And so I cleared him, made sure he was dead. He was still twitching. So I thought he was still he was still alive, but he was gone. That shot in the mouth ended him. And so we clear, and then we make sure they're okay. And then we go over to Walt and Jason and Matt, and we go to start working on them. And they were already dead. You know, in your mind, you know, especially with Walt, you know, I'll admit I was blinded by the fact that my best friend was fucked up. And so I didn't want to, I didn't consciously do this, but I unconsciously didn't want to accept that he was dead. And so I just started working on him, and he was shot in the face. So I started to try and get his body armor off of him too, because he was shot multiple times. I was trying to start, you know, packing wounds, and again, packing him face shot. Like, I mean, I should have known better. So I'm
best friend, man.
Yeah. You're trying to do anything you can because, you know. So yeah, as I'm doing that, I go, as I'm getting the body armor off of him, and my hand goes to the back of his head. My hand went through the back of his head. And that's when I knew that he was gone. And so I immediately then went over to Jason. I tried to work Jason. Jason was gone. Matt also. You know, the only, if you can say anything good about it, because obviously all of it is fucking horrible, is I think they were gone before they knew what happened. You know what I mean? It was quick. So then at this point, while this is happening, a whole team of ANA guys starts running up on us.
ANA?
Yeah, Afghan National Army guys starts, because again, this is our base. Yeah. And to their, you know, at the end of the day, they just heard gunfire, and of course they're going to fucking run to it. You know what I mean? They're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. But since it was just an ANA guy who did what he did, we have no fucking clue if this is a follow-on attack or what this is.
So it's just you and Brad.
It's just me and Brad. And then the clients
hit.
Brad's hit.
Down to one arm.
To one arm, and ultimately shot in the chest. And then further, we ended up finding out. So because it was an M16, it was 5.56 rounds. So you guys might already know this, but something about 5.56 rounds is what they do is they tumble as soon as they hit the body. So that's what makes them so rough, because they are a small round. But so it hit in his chest, and then it ripped through his intestines and lodged in his hip bone. And so again, this guy is getting after it. I'm yelling at him to do stuff and go get the med kit and this and that. Again, I know he's shot in the elbow, but we got to do what the fuck we got to do. I had no idea he was shot in the chest. And so Afghans start running up. I ultimately grab the guy who just did it. I grab his M16, and I'm drawing down on these guys, and we're screaming at each other, basically ultimately in somewhat of a Mexican standoff. And while I'm doing this, the only connection to a QRF, so the QRF is a quick reaction force. Our only connection to a QRF was a Nokia cell phone. We didn't have radios. We didn't have anything. That's one of the biggest problems or hard parts about contracting is you're doing a lot with a little. You know what I mean? You don't have when you're there in the Army, man, you got CAS, you got Hellfire, you got anything and everything that you can call. And we had C-130 Spectre gunships. You have the world behind you. Yeah. Contracting, you don't have shit.
Yeah, you're out there like you're
out there. They don't give a fuck about you. Yeah. And not only are you out there on your own, but like I just said, they don't give a fuck about you at all. So I call this guy, and I'm assuming some fucking private, because he was a dumbass. He might have been a higher rank, but he was a dumb piece of shit. He picks up the phone, and I'm saying, hey, we're at so-and-so hangar. We got guys down. And yeah, of course, I was fucking worked up, man. Yeah. And this motherfucker says to me, you need to calm down, sir, and hangs up on me. Fucking hung up on me, man. And so I call back, and I finally get him to release the QRF to come to us. Like, what felt like a fucking lifetime. It was probably 10, 15 minutes. Should not have taken that amount of time.
And this whole time you're in the standoff.
We're in this standoff with the ANA guys. So they finally show up, and they stop so that we're here. ANA guys are here. They stop near these barriers about 300 meters away from us on the other side of these guys. And I'm screaming, come forward. We got Americans down, get the fuck over here. They aren't doing shit. They don't do anything. And so finally me and Brad have to make the decision to say, fuck it. I guess these guys are good. You know, they haven't tried to kill us yet. And we make the decision to run through them. And I had to physically put my hands on the medic and scream in his face to fucking come over and help our guys. And again, just to reiterate again, Brad was doing all this shot in the chest and in the elbow. He ran with me to these guys. He helped me fucking get these pieces of shit ultimately to move forward. And, so we finally get them back, and we get them starting to work on them. We get the perimeter cleared. And, you know, that was ultimately then we're checking on all the clients, making sure they're good, making sure everything's clear. One of the, you know, and again, you have to have a fucked up sense of humor about this type of stuff. It's the only way you can deal with it. So one of the funny things, not funny, but funny, is so where we were, me and Brad were here. The supply office was right here. So our supply guy was in that office. So rounds are going through that supply office. And so all the other clients are in the Alamo, which is barricaded. It's got, you know, we got sandbags up in there. We got that thing locked fucking down. There's nothing in that thing. And I went in there and that poor dude was with the lights off as close as he could get to the fucking ground and just looks up at me with the scaredest fucking face you've ever seen in your life. And I remember thinking about that later, how scary that had to be because you're unarmed.
Yeah.
And you have no fucking idea what's going on. You just hear me and Brad yelling, gunfire, this piece of shit yelling fucking Allah Akbar and all the fucking shit he was yelling. And you have no clue what's happening and then no gunfire. And you have no idea who's going to come through that fucking door. And so ultimately, of course, it ended up being us. Everything was fine. But me and him have joked about this, you know, since then.
The supply guy?
Yeah, the supply guy. Oh, yeah. Again, these were guys, you know, they're the guys who were protected, but you ultimately are with them so much, you become friends with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. You end up becoming close. And so, you know, I'm still in contact with them to this day. But yeah, another thing about that, so the next day I had to go back and walk the counterintelligence guys through the whole thing and how it happened. And I hadn't, again, you're very much tunnel vision and you got shit to do. So I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings as far as like, you know, trying to look at everything. And I went and looked back and I shit you not, it was like an Acme cartoon of an outline of my body on that building, that storage container behind us. How that dude didn't fucking hit
an M16.
Me. Yeah, with an M16 at about 20 meters, 25 meters.
Holy shit.
Super fucking close.
Dude.
And truly some type of fucking intervention or the luckiest motherfucker on the planet, something. Yeah. But it was genuinely, I wish I would have got a picture at the time because it blew my mind that I didn't get hit. It was a complete fucking like arch around me,
your body
where I was. Yeah. Yeah. It was a gnarly fucking night, man. And, again, you know, it just sucks, man.
Of course.
You know, that was by far, I had a lot of fucking, I mean, I could tell you a bunch of stories about crazy nights, but that was obviously the worst one. And it was, you know, losing my best friend. Yeah. Losing Matt and Jason was horrible. You know, but, you know, me and Walt had been together for a long time. We had been from contract to contract for 7 years at this point. We had been working together.
Like your family, because you're over there more than
100%. And, you know, that was my brother. And so losing him was rough. It's probably the hardest thing that I deal with to this day. It's the thing that I think it was, you know, that it was what finally broke me. You know, it was because none of the job I didn't really care about. You know what I mean? Getting into, and this isn't because I'm fucking tough guy. And it was just, it's what we did. And I was a young fucking dumb kid who, you know, was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Yeah. And so that obviously you're scared all the time. Anyone who tells you you're not all the time, but in those fucked up situations, sure, you're obviously fucking scared. But you know, the different situations that happened throughout my career never bothered me as much as that one did. And it could have been a lot of things. It could have just been, I was fucking worn down from doing that shit for so long, but it more than anything, it was losing him. And so, yeah, you know, but I do everything I can to make him a part of my life now. Me and my son, we say our sayings, our little sayings that me and Walt used to have. So, one of the saddest things that I wish I had is recordings of Walt's voice. One, just because I would love to hear his voice again, but two, he was so fucking unique. He had this super Southern draw. He was this big, larger than life fucking dude, and was one of the greatest. Something I like to say is, a lot of people tend to talk good about people after they die, whether they were actually that good or not. But everything you hear about Walt and who he was as a person, he truly was that person. And he was just this larger than life character, and told these fucking stories that he would tell. And they were so animated in the way he talked and all these sayings. And so me and my son, I've got him doing these sayings now as we go around the house. And I try and talk about him as much as I can. I try and tell his story. And more than anything, something that's super important for me, and I'm sure people that are going to be listening have heard me say this a million times, but I want to be what Walt was for me, for other people. It's a really important thing to me. It's one of the main reasons I want to open the gym. It's one of the other main reasons that jiu-jitsu and our community helps me so much, is because I get to be that positive person in people's lives. And, not just Walt, but Maddie, Dick Davis, all of these guys, they are 100% responsible for who I am today. I owe them everything. When I got into contracting, I was a 22-year-old fucking punk. You know what I mean? Yes, I had been in the Army. Yes, I did what I did, but I was a 22-year-old fucking kid that showed up with a bunch of grown-ass fucking men. And it was either grow the fuck up or get the fuck out of there. Yeah. And they were truly some of the greatest humans I've ever met in my life. And they taught me what I believe is how a real man should be. And that is first and foremost a kind, genuine human that's a bad motherfucker when he's got to be.
Yeah.
And then can go right back to that kind, genuine human. And that, more than anything, in my opinion, is the most important thing in this world. And I love that gift that they gave to me. And I that's exactly how I try and raise my son. My goal, I say it all the time, and my goal in life is to raise the most kind, genuine, bad motherfucker on the planet. And you'll even, I think I said this to you guys before, like if you ask my son what the most important thing about a person is, he will tell you, are they a good human? And it's because, in my opinion, everything else is secondary. I don't care how fucking badass you are. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care what you've done in your life. If you're a piece of shit human, none of that matters. Yeah. And so that, to me, is the legacy that I want to leave and carry on and be for other people.
Do you feel like that's missing in today's society?
It's extremely missing. Yeah, I think we're all so selfish and so about our shit, and it blows my mind, and I know to some people this sounds corny, but like, instead of starting each interaction with trying to be a good person and trying to be kind, we start our interactions in this dickheaded way. Again, not everybody, but so many, especially just like normal interactions you see, or people out on the road and shit. It's like, dude, you have no idea what people are fucking going through. And again, I get angry. I'm an angry motherfucker. It's one of the problems I deal with from, like we were talking about earlier, but like, dude, just be a good person, man. I don't understand how that isn't the fucking default. Like, and again, I think that's what I love about our community, the jiu-jitsu community, so much, is you have so many kind, good people.
That's where I was going to say, is like, I feel like jiu-jitsu is like a perfect community for you 100%. To join, that like, yes, you're around some of the most kind, genuine people, but they're also fucking killers.
That's exactly right.
They are all.
That's exactly
some of the most unassuming people that you would ever, walk in a room, like that guy over there.
That's right.
He's the guy
bad motherfucker. They got the biggest smile on their face. They're being nice to everybody, helping each other out. You're 1,000% right, and that's why. jiu-jitsu has just been an overwhelmingly positive influence in my life. I mean, I genuinely don't know where I would be without it.
Yeah.
And specifically our team. Tag team.
Dude, it's amazing.
Is so amazing. And I say specifically, one of the best things that came out of me finding out I had cancer was seeing that the people that I chose to have in my life are the right people to have in my life. And something, my dad wasn't very much in my life for most of it, but one of the things he did used to tell me is that if you're lucky enough to have 5 or enough friends to count on one hand, you're a lucky man. And when he initially told me that as a teenager, I thought, oh, you're fucking full of shit. I got all these friends. And then I grew up and I realized what friends were. And I realized how true that statement was. But then what's incredible about our community is it's like this exception to that rule.
Yes.
You have so many people that genuinely care about your well-being. It's one of the most, Jared Weiner, the head of tag team, ultimately, other than meeting me a couple times at belt ceremonies or whatever, he doesn't know me from Adam. When that whole cancer diagnosis happened, he got my number from Junior and called me and told me and just wanted to let me know that I have a whole army behind me. Anything that I need, they're always here. He doesn't owe me that. He doesn't owe me anything. And that just shows that, again, how not just incredible the jiu-jitsu community is, but how incredible tag team is and our community specifically. It's something that I'm obviously talking a lot, but I don't think you can really put into words how incredible it is.
No, you have to experience it for yourself.
You really do.
Yeah.
You really do. It's an awesome thing, man.
Yeah, man. What ultimately led you to Revive? Because I think I was there for one of your very first classes.
Yeah, I think you were. Yeah.
I remember I think I armbarred you.
Yeah.
I was like a 2 or 3 stripe white belt at the time. But it was like your first day.
Yeah.
And I remember getting this giant fucking in an arm bar and I'm terrified. I'm like, fuck, now he's really going to come fucking smash me. But I remember you're like, holy shit, that was fucking awesome. And I was like, oh, that was not the reaction I was expecting from you.
Yeah, see, and so that's the difference, I think, with people that stick with jiu-jitsu and those that don't, is the person that doesn't stick with it, that ego immediately takes over and says, oh, well, I can't do this.
Right.
But that person that falls in love with it says, how the fuck do I learn how to do this?
Yeah.
This is fucking phenomenal. And I remember our role specifically. And I remember being such a naive dumbass thinking, again, I was a huge motherfucker back then, thinking, oh,
I got 100 pounds on this fucking guy.
And then you fucked me up in instance, in a fucking instant. And I was just like, this is fucking amazing. I gotta know. I tell the story all the time. My first night of jiu-jitsu was me and Junior, because Revive was brand new.
Small.
They started in December. I started in January. So my first class was me and Junior on a Friday night, just the two of us. And we rolled at the end of it. And I just, again, this big 265 pounds, 6'4", thinking I was way more than I actually was.
I've been doing the shit I've been doing for 15 years. Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm at least going to be able to do something.
Yeah, I've fucked enough people up.
That's right.
Fuck this,
not
this
a fucking chance, dude. Manhandled me like a fucking child. And the worst part was, that overhead sweep where you get both sleep control and you take them up over there. Yep. It's almost like what I tell people that don't know jiu-jitsu is it's like that Superman that you do with your kids. And he did that shit to me so fucking slow and just laid me down. And I was like, this is the most emasculating fucking thing I've ever fucking had happen to me. This is insane. Yeah. And I was like, this is fucking incredible.
It's so eye-opening. I've told the story on here many times, but I had an experience like that too. It was like my very first day at Finney's. I trained with Amanda. Yeah. And dude, she just fucked me up.
She's a fucking badass.
I know,
man.
and I came in, I'm like, oh, I wrestled in high school. I lift weights. I'm tough. And then this, girl that, I've got 40 pounds on.
That's right.
Fucking triangled me, armbarred me, fucking rear naked. In like a 3-minute round, she probably submitted me 3 or 4 times. And I was like, holy shit, I got to learn how to do this.
It's incredible, man.
It's so eye-opening. I think I'm sure everybody that trains jiu-jitsu has a story like that.
Oh, without a question.
Their first day and they're like, it opens your eyes to what's possible.
It really does, man.
It's fucking awesome.
It's the greatest thing.
Luckily, you guys prepared me well for
Yeah.
what I was walking into.
That's right. Yeah. You had a good idea of what you got before you got out there.
It was funny because we had Phil White down here the other day, and I don't know if you know Phil, but black
Judo
belt.
Phil.
Yeah. I don't know him well, but I know of him.
Yeah.
So my first day in fundamentals was with them, and Trevor was like, "Oh no. You two together." And I was like, okay, what am I getting myself into? But like within 10 seconds, he threw a flying armbar against me. And I was like, no, welcome to this.
All right. Yeah, this is what it is. What it is. That's right, man. It's, but to your answer your question, how I actually got into Revive and jiu-jitsu in general, obviously in the Army, you do jiu-jitsu. But not really. It's nothing. It's like learning how to shrimp. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Especially with us, because we were deployed most of the time that I was in.
Someone tells me they're a green belt. I don't
Yeah,
really,
it doesn't mean
isn't there like a belt system?
There is. Yeah. And it's bullshit.
Doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything. But a guy, so do you know Jake Bonebreak?
No.
So Jake Bonebreak, so he trained.
That's his actual name?
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Right? And he lives up to that fucking hype. He's a bad motherfucker. One of the baddest dudes I know. So we actually were in Afghanistan together. Okay. We contracted together. And then by happenstance, he lives right over in Illinois. And so we know a lot of the same people. He knows Jordan Dowdy. Okay. So that's how I originally met Jordan. And then so he knew Nick. And he knew that I was looking to get Johnny, my son, into it. And he was like, hey, there's this new place opening up called Revive. You should go check it out. My good friend Nick runs it, and you should check it out. And so I was like, hell yeah, man, let's do this. And then from there on, we were hooked. Yeah, he little man started. And then I went to like the next class, because Junior is such a good fucking salesman. I wanted to do it, but that motherfucker will talk. He'll talk you into anything. That's right. That's exactly right. You'll be selling your soul in a heartbeat. But so he talked me into it, and then the rest became history. And now, it's my family, man. I genuinely, and I know I probably get on people's nerves how much I say this stuff, but like, I genuinely don't know what I would do without all of you guys, but specifically Revive.
Sure.
Man. It's just had such a positive impact on my life and my whole family. My wife trains, my son trains, it's amazing. Man.
What belt's your son?
He is a gray black belt.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. He's getting up there. He just turned 9. He's been training since he was 3.5.
Sweet.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I want to start getting my son into
Yeah,
it. He's about 3.5. So I was, I'm debating on if I want to start him doing wrestling or have, cause like there's not a good, like, I guess I could just go bring him out to Revive. It's just a little bit of a hike,
Yeah.
And I have aspirations to open up a gym someday too. Yeah. So I'm like, man, like if I could just do that, then I could have him, just do a kids program there or do something kind of more like South County or somewhere like West County, South County, somewhere around here. Cause we don't really have or Fenton. Yeah. We really don't have a tag team, place out here. I mean, we've got, Watson's, that's like the closest place, but that's a good 20 minutes away. So, I mean, I would think that would be, far enough away that, I wouldn't.
We just got to talk to Scott. Be like, dude, let's
literally, something. I mean, we've talked about just getting more mats and doing something here.
I think you really probably could. I mean, that'd be
enough space
Scott
back
would
there.
probably be okay with it. I mean,
dude, it'd be fucking awesome.
And we've, like as I mentioned, as we were showing you back there, he eventually wants to turn that whole space. I'm like, man, just give us a little corner.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
Just a corner enough for 5-6 pairs.
You don't need much to get started. Yeah,
and you could run a kids program a couple days a week, have an adults program a couple days a week, and just kind of start it that way.
It was funny. So I had my 2 little ones with me, and we came up to the tournament last weekend.
Oh yeah,
my youngest one. She's like, Zach, can you teach me that?
Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about, dude. How old are your kids?
Well, my oldest just turned 7. My youngest will be 6 in December.
Oh, so they're perfect age, man. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, dude. To me, again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, especially with you, but like it is the greatest thing that you could get your kid into. Yeah. I mean, it truly is. Even if it's doesn't be the number one thing that they do, it's so good for so many different things.
Yeah, confidence.
Man.
I mean,
the confidence, body control,
being able to think under pressure.
Right.
I think that's one of the greatest things that you can get out of it. And again, not to get off on another topic, but just to make the point, one of the reasons that all cops should do it.
No, for sure.
One, obviously, it's an incredible. I mean, you're learning how to control people without hurting them unless you need to, which is obviously the greatest part. But the greatest thing about jiu-jitsu for cops, in my opinion, is that learning how to be confident and think properly under stressful situations,
right.
because that's what leads to these horrible situations happening. Is they're all of a sudden scared and they don't know how to handle themselves physically.
And they've trained.
Exactly.
I mean, we've had several cops in here and we've talked about this. I mean, they get like a training like every 6 months.
Bullshit. It's
like,
nothing.
dude, like if you're not training
it's not
outside
mandatory,
of
and they know that they're not wanting to go and do it on their own.
Not at all.
Right.
It's funny because we had Matt Green on, and he was talking about all that. The stuff that
That's
he posts
his
is
thing.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. He's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But he's right. He's fucking right, man.
I mean, how many cops have come in and I'm not a big guy and I'm able to throw
That's
them around.
exactly
I'm like,
right.
Wow, like,
That's exactly.
What if
right.
what if you encounter someone who
fucked.
knows what they're doing on the
be
street?
fucked.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
And your
It's
life's on the line. They grab your gun, take it from you. You're like, I mean, a lot of bad things can fucking happen. You know,
a horrible. And then again, just that the confidence that training would bring into each situation that they go into, that they know if this goes physical, I can handle myself. I've been here before. I do this 4 or 5 nights a week, 2 nights a week, whatever it is, for however many years. I'm confident in my ability if this goes hands on. Mm-hmm. That right there will automatically de-escalate every situation that you go into.
Yeah.
Because if you're the one ramping up the situation because you're not confident in your ability, you're ultimately leading yourself into a horrible situation that now is going to escalate way past where it needs to. But like we were saying with kids, dude, having that confidence throughout life, man, like, and again, you can carry that into anything, into the classroom, into your job later in life. It doesn't matter what it is. Building that confidence is massive, man. And it's such a great anti-bullying.
Yes, that's where I was going to go.
For both sides of it. One, you know that there's always a bigger, badder motherfucker out there. And because of the confidence, you don't have to overcompensate like so many dudes do. And you just walk through life not wanting problems because you know what could come of that fucking problem. You know how serious it could get. And yeah, it's such an anti-bullying. It obviously helps you if someone ever fucks with you.
Right.
You know, and I am very much of the adage, and I'm sure there's people that won't agree with this, but I'm of that chael sonin thought process. This is what I tell my son. If someone comes into your arm space in an aggressive manner, you fucking deal with it. Mm-hmm. You do not let someone enter your arm space, your personal space, in an aggressive manner, because God knows, especially in this day and age, what might happen. And I'm not saying necessarily fight. Hey man, if you can get away and get out of the situation, get out of the situation. I never want to promote fighting in any way, shape or form. I just don't believe in this. Let them throw the first punch.
No.
Because that can be absolutely devastating. You know, they catch something lucky and you're fucked.
You're on the ground. Yeah.
You're fucked. So yeah, it just gives him that confidence throughout life, man. Yeah. And the family, one of the greatest things is like, no matter where he goes in this world, if he's got a gi or no gi stuff, he's got a community.
Yes.
Like if there's a jiu-jitsu gym, he's got an instant community of family. Yes. It's the great, like what other thing? Like, yeah, like we talked about hockey. Hockey's great, but the odds, I guess, yeah, you could, but it's just as significant and as many options as you would have to just show up in a random place.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to bring your whole hockey bag.
That's right. Exactly. So you just have that anywhere and almost anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we got one of our guys is deployed in Africa right now, and he just posted a picture of they're all training there.
Damn,
like it's cool as shit, man. Like you have that everywhere, man.
Dude,
and
so cool.
yeah, it's
our buddy Nick Curran is like one of my best
Yeah,
friends.
yeah,
Him and I
great
trained
dude.
together a long time. He was actually B team yesterday. Sent us like all these pictures.
Oh, that's
Check this
badass.
out. Yeah, I mean, like here's him with Nicky Ryan,
that's cool,
Damien, him and Ethan, Nicky
That's
Rod.
That's awesome.
That's badass,
Yeah,
man.
his buddy Nick. Do you know? Have you trained with him?
Yeah.
Nick Matea?
He trained at Revive for a little while. He's a
he's a
monster.
So he went
dude.
down there to see Matea?
Well, no, he's down there for a wedding,
Oh, okay.
and it's in Austin, and him and Mateo are good buddies, and he's like, yeah, you can come to the
That's
comp
badass.
class.
What was that? What did he say that was like?
I haven't really talked to him yet. He sent that to the group chat, but I'm sure I'll get the whole scoop on
Yeah,
what
dude.
he said. He said he had he said you might see a post of him like attempting to darce Nicky Rod. And go his way.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
So,
that's fucking incredible.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool.
Yeah.
I was so jealous when he sent those pictures.
It's
I'm
awesome,
like, oh man, just going to train with some of the best guys in the world. Like,
And that's what's so cool because any other sport, you don't have that.
you don't have that access.
Like,
I'm not gonna. You guys aren't gonna go play hockey with
Ever.
blues.
Ever.
No, you're not gonna
Exactly.
Go lace up and
Exactly.
just go to a stick and puck with
Yeah,
the blues.
that's
But, like,
exactly
you can
right.
You can just walk into a
It's
jiu-jitsu
crazy.
gym and like possibly train with some of the best guys in the world.
Or
That's
like,
right.
Or like we've said before, just enter a tournament and you're rolling
That's
with Joe
right.
Rogan or
Yeah.
fucking.
That's right. That's
Imagine
right.
rolling with Anthony Bourdain when he was
Yeah.
still around.
That's
Like,
crazy.
like,
That's so
fuck,
cool.
man.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, so that'd be it. Dude, that had to be insane for that
For that
dude.
guy.
Yeah,
Oh my
man.
god.
Yeah,
like
that-
like what if I fucking sub this guy and humiliate him?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
Oh,
you know,
man.
one of the
Get
richest
banned
guys
from
in the world.
Facebook.
Yeah. Or if he humiliates me
Yes.
and
Like-
fucking now I'm a highlight reel.
Yes, for
Fucking,
fucking
oh
Zucker.
my God,
It's
that'd
like
be
a
horrible.
lose-lose.
That's
Yeah.
right. But to their point, like you got to give him credit for that, man.
sure.
Because you know anybody that went against was trying to fucking kill him.
100%.
For
Like
sure.
with the same thing with Tom Hardy. Now Tom Hardy seems like the real deal.
He does.
Yeah.
Like he genuinely, but you, dude, any one of us, it doesn't matter. Just on the basis of not trying to become a highlight reel, I'm trying to fucking kill you if
Yes.
we're competing against each other, man. I am not trying to fucking end up all over the internet if you fucking me up.
Right.
And so,
Especially
yeah,
in today's
that's,
day and age where everything's
oh,
on
it's
video,
everything.
like,
Well, I mean, you see how many of Tom Hardy's,
Yeah.
matches, man.
and you're like, dude, he's legit.
He's definitely legit. It's
What
cool
belt
as
is
shit.
he?
purple.
I think. Yeah,
he's
yeah,
purple.
yeah,
which
yeah.
is-
It's super cool.
Have you seen that one video where he's like, some guy, he's getting interviewed and some guy's like, well, what's your favorite submission in jiu-jitsu? And he's just, I like to smother people.
I have seen that. It's amazing. That's amazing.
It's just like not what you're expecting to say at all.
That's
Most
amazing.
degrading submission you can do.
It is really one of the best to fight. Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
one of
You
the
smother
greatest.
choke someone, it's
dude.
like,
yeah. Hitting a mother's milk on someone, especially in competition. That's that's
Yeah.
amazing.
There was this when Nick and I first started training. Because the same purple belt would do it. He doesn't really train anymore, but at the time he was a purple belt. We're white belts, and he's a kind of a bigger guy, bigger belly, and he'd get you in mount, and he never wore a shirt under his gi, and he'd get you in mount, grab the back of your head, and just hold your head into his belly. So you're just
fucking horrible.
his sweaty, hairy chest,
yeah.
and you're just like
Questioning life choices,
just turning your
fucking-
head, trying to find fucking air.
It's the worst fucking feeling on the planet, man. By far one of the worst feelings on the planet,
it's
dude.
horrible.
Yeah. Fucking awful.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But that's also what makes it so
Oh, dude,
badass.
it's so fun. And then now I'm a
'cause
purple
we're
belt and I can
insane.
do that to people.
That's
you know?
right. That's right. That's right. Normal people would think we're insane for that, but it doesn't matter. Fuck it.
So fuck them.
Yeah. I think that's also the nice thing about jiu-jitsu too. One, you meet all walks of life, but you have a lot of people that are dealing with things. And so again, back to that community, you're all there for each other. You know what I mean? And it again, we all are a little fucking off, man, but that's what makes us such a tight knit fucking group. You know what I mean? And it's that, I say, just like the military, there's so many, and I think we already said this, there's so many parallels to the military and jiu-jitsu. And one of the main reasons that I think brings people together is that common struggle. It's why us in the military become so close, because we're going through this hard shit together. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. Yes. You're going through this hard shit together. And not only are you going through this hard shit together, but then when you go against each other, you're building this insane level of respect for each other. Because one, obviously you have each other's well-being.
Yeah, I'm not going to really break
That's
your arm,
exactly right.
you know?
But then this, you are both out there fucking.
But I'm trying to break
That's
your arm.
exactly right. What I always tell people, the way I describe it is we're trying to kill each other in the most respectful way possible. Yes. Like that's the best way. You're not actually trying to kill each other, but you are at the same. You're trying to make
Simulated
each
murder.
other. That's right. Trying to make each other's life miserable.
Yes.
But those are usually the people that you have the toughest rounds with are the ones you become the closest with.
For sure.
Like Dustin Fisher.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite humans on the planet, man. And he is the epitome of that, back to what we talked about, that one of the most kind, genuine people I've ever met. But that motherfucker is a bad motherfucker.
I saw him
man.
compete this past
Yeah,
weekend.
dude, he's a bad motherfucker.
bad, dude.
Yeah, dude. Every time we roll, he's a fucking monster, man.
Yeah.
He is a monster.
Oh yeah, like our buddy Connor.
Yeah, it's a
another
dude.
one.
Fucking monster, man.
Fucking bull in a china shop.
Dude, it's insane. And now, his jiu-jitsu has really caught up to his athleticism, and he's really started to develop, man. It's there for a long time. I think he had such athleticism. That was his thing.
His crush,
but man, he has totally fixed that, and his jiu-jitsu has gotten really good. Yeah, he's a monster.
He is. I mean, because I remember him and I were at Finney's together, and I mean, Connor and I go way back now since I first started. That's how
that's
we
awesome.
met.
Yeah,
you know, and he got me in touch with my buddy who kind of took me under his wing with real estate, mutual friend of ours.
That's
now.
awesome.
And yeah, Connor's great, but I remember Connor coming at me like a bat out of hell, and like you know, like just his whole thing was like get on your back and bow and arrow you. But now he's got a definitely more diverse game.
Yeah, he does, man. It's awesome, man. It's awesome. It's cool seeing people grow in this sport. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's a really awesome.
You got to think of like how much like your game has changed over over last 6 years since you've been training.
So much, man. So
I'm thinking just how much more it's going to train it or change as you
without
continue.
question.
Yeah, because I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Well, just think about all the new shit that's going to be continuing to. Like, it's always changing. And all the new stuff that's always coming out.
It's one of the coolest things that I of course, John Danaher talking about, and I loved it though. But he was talking about how jiu-jitsu is a puzzle that it's the most extreme puzzle that you have to solve, because you have a problem that someone's given you, then you're giving them a problem back to that. And it's an ever moving, you're trying to on the fly answer problems that the other person is giving you faster than they can answer the problems. Yes. And I just think that's such a really cool way to describe jiu-jitsu. And I think another reason why people love it so much, because it is you can look at it as a very brute, force kind of thing, but it's such a chess game, man.
It is.
It really is. There's so much, especially in my opinion, gi. Jiu-jitsu is so much of a complex game, and
just so many different options.
So much.
I mean, you have there's plenty of options in no-gi, but like everything that you can do no-gi, you can do in the gi.
That's right.
But like in the gi, you just have so many more grips, so many different like options and problems people can present with like lapels and
100%.
all sorts of weird stuff. And man, it's something you can do forever. I mean, really, I mean, like this was like
that's the goal.
This past weekend, my parents came and they came at a weird time, and it didn't end up seeing me compete because my match time was moving around.
It's so hard.
But all of a sudden, my dad looks over and he goes, "How old are those guys?" And I look over and I'm like, Masters 5, so they're like 55-ish, and my dad just turned 60. I'm like, yeah, and these guys are your age and probably your weight class. And he was like, you could see him like, oh my God, people my age are doing this shit. And I was
hell
like,
man.
Dude.
It's awesome.
It's gonna be me, I hope, in the next 20 years. I hope I'm still doing this
hell
shit.
yeah.
As long as my body holds up, I plan on doing this as long as I possibly can.
That's the goal, man. The body's got to hold up,
man.
That's the only problem, man. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And, but Steve McKinney's a perfect example, man.
Yeah,
that guy's amazing. He's one of another one of my favorite humans. He's that dude just has one of the greatest vibes he's just a genuinely good human, man. But he is a perfect example of, dude, what is he now? 62, 63? Yeah. I remember he did 60 minutes of consistent rolling on his 60th birthday. He rolled for 60 minutes straight on his 60th birthday.
That's fucking cool.
That's fucking incredible. God, I would love to be able to.
That's a goal.
Yeah, 100%.
60 minutes on your 60th birthday.
That's amazing.
That's a fucking goal.
That's amazing. Or like we got Don that trains at our gym.
Got his brown belt,
he just got his brown, and he's like 68. I think.
Really?
Holy shit.
Yeah. And he still gets after it, man.
Yeah, I drilled with him on Thursday morning.
Yeah. It's
Tuesday morning. Yeah.
Dude, it's fucking, I admire that so much, and I hope I'm still getting it. I worry sometimes because my body's pretty fucking broken. But I hope I can still keep getting after it then, man.
Yeah, me too, man.
Especially as your son gets older and all that, and
dude.
rolling with him. I mean, I'm sure you guys can roll around and do some stuff now, but nothing.
Yeah, when he's like 16.
Dude, it's going to be amazing. Yeah. There's a video of Wagner Hosha and his son rolling, and I showed that to Johnny, and I go, bro, that's going to be us one day. And they're just trying to murder each other. Yeah. And I literally don't want that to happen. I don't want to wish away, because dude, it's already going by so fast. But at the same time, God, I can't wait for that. It's going to be so fucking cool, man. And that day that he can finally beat me, to me is going to be amazing. Yeah. Now I'm going to die before that happens. The motherfucker's going to have to earn it. He's going to earn it. He's going to fucking earn that shit. But it's going to be the coolest fucking day.
I'm not fucking tapping.
Yeah, no fucking way. That's right. I'm going to fucking die, motherfucker. But it's going to be.
Never going to live this down.
That's right. I'm fucked at that point. There's a funny story about my dad. So I had gotten home from contracting for a little while, and I had finally started putting on some weight. I was up to about 220 or so. And I thought, you know what? I think I can finally fuck my dad up, man. Like, I think I got this. And just to give a little backstory, I always say, and I apologize if he listens to this, but he wasn't the greatest dad. He wasn't around, but on paper, he was amazing. I mean, he was a Golden Glove boxer, did the Marines. He was a Swiftwater Rescue helicopter medic. He worked for Blackwater. He was a search and rescue medic for Blackwater, did a bunch of really cool stuff. On paper, he's a bad motherfucker. And big dude, 220, 6'1", always been a fucking monster. Wrestled for a long time. And, but I thought, you know what? I think I can fuck him up now. He fucked me up so bad. To this day, we laugh about that because I thought, I can fucking do this, man. I got size now. No, not even a fucking manhandle. Fucked me up completely. And to this day, I give him shit because now he's all broken. His neck. He was in a helicopter crash in Iraq. And, he still gets around, but his body's fucked. And I give him shit. I'm like, bro, you did that shit on purpose because now I can't get you back, man. Because I tell him all the time, I would love to get that back. Now that I actually train, I would love to see how that shit goes down. He probably still fucked me up, but but there is going to be a day that Johnny's going to be able to fuck me up, man. Yeah. Like, especially you start talking 18, 20.
Yeah.
First of all.
Especially if he keeps training.
Dude,
I mean, how many, the kids these days. Man,
oh, it's insane.
Like we got a 14-year-old kid who's been training at Watson's and, I think he trained at like a 10th Planet gym for like 2 years, like all nogi. And then he just came to Watson's and has been training in the gi now.
Yeah,
like, you're 14.
It's fucking,
it's
horrible,
obviously I'm like bigger and stronger, I can move around plenty, but like, man, this kid keeps up, like in fucking 3-4 years, he is going to be a fucking problem.
Monster.
Monster. Like, Jesus.
A perfect example of that is Jaden, who's down in Brazil right now. That motherfucker, he is, dude. And again, it's the same thing. It's because he's been doing it since he was a kid. And what you notice about guys like that is the way their body moves is different. And I might be wrong about this, but the way I look at that, especially someone like me who started at 34, but even you starting later in life, now you still had wrestling, but like our bodies have to learn to move that way, completely different from how we've moved our whole lives. Their muscles, their ligaments, everything is going to grow up knowing how to move that way. So like even when Jaden would be doing some crazy shit, it still works just because of the way he knows how to move his fucking body. Yes. And it's going to be the same. Anybody that trains that long, man, it's such, and that's, my goal with Jonathan is, and again, not to, go back to Wagner Hosha, but I love his mindset on it. His idea of it is with his kids, they didn't have to be world champions. They didn't even have to compete. But just like school, jiu-jitsu was going to be something that they did. And that's the same thing. And I've tried my goal, and so far I've been luckily successful with it, is to make him grow the love for it. Back when he started, and even now, if he doesn't want to go one night, he doesn't have to go. Now, if all of a sudden he doesn't want to go all the time, we're going to have a conversation. But like, I want it to be something that he's going to love for the rest of his life. I don't want it to be this horrible thing that by 15, he's like, fuck this. I don't want anything to do with it. And thus far it's worked out because.
Well, I mean, it's you and your wife and him doing
that's exactly
it. So
right.
it's like, it's a family, it's a family thing.
That's exactly. And then again, he literally, we were talking about this the other day. He will not know life without Revive and without jiu-jitsu. He started training at 3.5. He's not going to remember life before then. So his entire, that's just, and like me and Junior talk about all the time, that's just going to be how life is as he grows up. That's what we do all week. But at school, besides school, we go up and train. Now school nights, it's a little bit harder now. He doesn't stay and hang out as much, but a lot of the times, especially in the summer, he hangs out all night. Yeah. I mean, Junior, he loves Junior, man. That's, he loves that place. He's got his group of friends there. That's his little home away from home, and so that's always been my hope. And I hope that continues. And then ultimately,
how old is he?
He's 9. Just turned 9 in August. Yeah. And, what would be the greatest thing is, I get this gym started down the road and he ends up starting to teach there. It would be amazing, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
How is that strengthen your guys? Like you and your wives, you and your sons?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome because we have this thing, you know what I mean? Like not many families are lucky enough to have an activity that they all do together. You know what I mean? And we have this thing that we all do together. Now, the only thing that sucks that I hate right now is with my job right now, it's real hard for me to get to the kids class. So I don't get to be there and train, and see him train as much as I would like. I still get up there, but it's usually Liz that has to end up taking him.
You know how you do that?
How's that?
You join my team.
That's right. That needs to happen, I think. Because, I hate that I don't get to see that. Yeah. And again, I don't want to wish his life away, but I can't wait to the day like DJ and his son Jumbo, they now come to adults class together. You know what I mean? And to have that is just going to be so amazing. And then like you said with my wife too, if we're both there on the same nights, we partner up together. You know what I mean? And we got our mats. We're actually just talked about, we're going to start working on her game at the house because we can just roll down the mats anytime.
How long has she been doing it?
Almost the same amount of time. She's took some bigger, long, intermissions in there. She had some medical problems and stuff that she couldn't train for a while, but almost the exact same amount of time.
Yeah.
I think she started like a couple months after we did.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. Yeah. She's a badass, dude. I could brag on my wife the entire show. She's my best friend in the whole world, man. I'm so lucky, man. So lucky.
Oh, that's awesome.
How did becoming a dad change you?
Oh God, it changed me in so many ways.
Well, because you were still in, if your son's
yeah. And unfortunately, I missed a good chunk of the first 3 years of his life. And this isn't a boohoo, woe is me, but I missed his first steps. I missed a bunch of that. And that was Walt getting killed was sort of the beginning of the end for me. You know what I mean? I had, in my time contracting in the Army, I had a lot of friends get killed. In that first contract that I worked that year, the one we were talking about, 16 dudes got killed in that first year. We had like a 93% contact rate every time we went out. And, so I couldn't. So anyway, him being born, after Walt was killed, that was the beginning of the end. And then him being born was like, I can't fucking do this. Like leaving him was so fucking hard and thank God that he was never old enough to know that I was leaving. Because, I had buddies that were doing it and their kids were 4 and 5 and telling me stories of their son or daughter the night before, Daddy, please don't go. Please. I genuinely couldn't handle that. It makes me want to cry just thinking about it right now. Like there's no way I could do that. So
I get that feeling when I'm leaving for work in the morning.
Dude,
like,
100%, 100%.
I went I don't want to go now.
Yeah, dude.
I'm going to be back in fucking 6 hours,
Exactly. Dude, I'm the same way. I'm the same way, man.
I went 2 weeks this summer without seeing him, and I was fucking depressed.
Dude, it was
awful.
It's awful.
I was out of town for baseball and all this, and then came back, and my ex-wife and her boyfriend went on vacation with the boys and end of June, early July, and I didn't see him for 2 weeks. It was the fucking worst.
Dude, it's horrible.
It's terrible.
They become such a massive part of who. I mean, I'll get back to your question, I promise. To me, what I tell people is you can tell someone that they're going to love their children and you'll say, oh yeah, I know what love is. You don't know what that type of love is. It is a completely unexplainable type of love. It is, me and my wife even joke about it all the time. Again, she's my best friend in the whole world. I couldn't live without her, but we had the type of love that we have for our son is just again, you can't explain it. The only way to know it is to feel it. Yeah. Right. And, so back to your question, it changed everything about who I am. I was a real angry motherfucker for a long time. And I was, I was this angry, not arrogant, but just, I was young, You know what I mean? And I was single and I was doing this cool ass shit. And I thought I was the man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you have a kid, everything changes. What you give a fuck about in this life completely changes. And, you know, I jokingly say that it's made me a straight up bitch. Like, I mean, it really has.
Softens a person.
It softens you completely.
Vulnerable.
Oh, it does, man.
Like this giant vulnerability.
Well, you're wearing, in my opinion, it's your heart outside of your body. You know, I mean, that's the
one way to put it.
Yeah.
It's like that picture that you see where you got the dad who's just covered in holes.
That's right.
And the son standing behind him with nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And it's given me real purpose. You know, I still struggle with purpose because of my professional life and what I used to do. And we could talk about that as well. The transition is, you know, it's hard to go from what I used to do to doing what I do now. But you know, I struggled for a long time, and I don't mean to keep going back to it, but I struggled for a long time after Walt got killed. Why the fuck did I live? Why the fuck? Because the difference between
especially with that silhouette.
Right.
That's and not even that. Take it back further into that. If that dude would have fucking come out from behind that Connex 3 seconds earlier, we all would have been dead. And then he would have moved on to the clients, and then he would have moved on and keep moving on until someone finally killed him. The difference of 3 to 5 seconds is what saved my life, and us being on the other side of that plane. And so, you know, I really struggled with.
Did Brad make it?
He did. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Back to.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. But just because anytime I tell a story, I have to talk about how bad of a motherfucker he is. So real quick, I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but he finally, so he's doing this. He runs with me over there. He's fucking running around. He finally comes up to me and he's like, "Hey Dan, do you mind if I sit down, man? I'm feeling a little fucking woozy." And I go, "Yeah, of course, dude." Because at this time, the scene was secure. Everything was good. And so one of the medics goes to check him out. And that's when we find out he's shot in the chest.
Did he know?
I don't think he knew. Oh, yeah. If he did know, he never said he never said anything about it. And again, not only was he shot in the chest, but his intestines were completely ripped apart at this time. That was one of the biggest worries that almost killed him is sepsis. Yeah. So anyway, not only did he live, and I guess I shouldn't continue to bash these motherfuckers, but they were truly awful. And then to come back a year later, again, I'm jumping all over the place, but so a year later, on literally year to the date, 2016, January 29th of 2016, I was working a contract on that same base and had to walk by the holes in the ground from where the guy stood over the top of my friends and shot him. And to then find out that all those motherfuckers got awards and got all of this shit for being pieces of shit, ultimately.
Pretending.
Did nothing. Did nothing. They did nothing to help that situation. They had to be guided every step of the way. They wouldn't come forward anyway. So
you're talking about the task force.
Yeah, the QRF guys. So it was some Air Force and some National Guard or some Army guys. And so again, this isn't, I mean, it ultimately is talking shit about them, but it's more so to talk about how incredible Brad is. So they put him in an MRAP and they're taking him over to the base. First of all, they didn't know where the hospital was on the base that is attached to their base. Really? That's insanity. So he had to direct them to where it was. And then he fucking got up and walked into the hospital himself till he finally collapsed in a wheelchair. That motherfucker is one of the baddest dudes on the fucking planet, man. And the fact that he not only lived through that, but continued to operate that fucked up, I can't speak highly enough of him, man. He's a truly incredible human.
It just goes to show you what your body can go through and
keep going.
Nuts.
Yeah. It really is. And obviously adrenaline and things like that worked, but it doesn't take away anything away from how just truly incredible he was.
That's awesome.
He's a best. So yes, he did. Ultimately, it was Matt, Jason, and Walt that got killed that night. So they're ultimately the ones that got killed. Yeah. So what were we, I forget what we were talking about.
Fatherhood.
Yeah. So with fatherhood. So, you know, it really changed everything. I mean, I love being a dad so much. And that's how we got back to that is I really struggled with why the fuck am I still alive? And how the fuck did I live through that? And I don't know if this is the answer, but the way I kind of come to terms with that is it was to raise a good man and to be a good father. And that has become my mission in life. And it's the most important thing, obviously being a good husband as well, but being a good father, you know, and I've told my dad this before, not in a way to make him feel bad, but in just because I like to speak blatantly and bluntly. Two things. One, I understood him less after I became a father, because I looked at my son and I thought, dude, I'll fucking burn the world to the ground before someone keeps him out of my fucking life. It will never fucking happen. And so I lost any sense of how he could have not been a part of my life. But then the great thing that came from that, and I feel it's really important to look at the goodness that comes from fucked up shit, right? Anybody that's good and anybody that I know in my life that is a cool motherfucker usually has some seriously fucked up shit that's happened in their life, right? Or at least some sort of struggles. But so, you know, him not being around, it's made me obsessed with being a good dad, because I know what that felt like, and I will never let my son feel that, ever. And so it just is, it's become my entire purpose, man. He's my,
awesome.
He's my everything, man. I literally could not, I can't see life without him, man. You know, he's my everything, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, one thing you kind of mentioned that, you know, I definitely want to get to is, what was that transition like coming home?
Yeah, that was rough, man. So, you know, it's funny because, again, back to that not being arrogant, but just, I think because you just are in a certain mindset for so long, you're in this sort of don't be a bitch mentality for so long, that I don't know if I want to say I looked down on people that said they had PTSD, but I had the mentality of stop being a fucking bitch. You know what I mean? And I think it's because my transition from the Army was straight into contracting. I didn't have that heavy transition. And then I got a taste of my own medicine, or I got a taste of what that was like. And I kind of had to put my foot in my mouth, because once I stopped contracting in 2019, the transition fucking broke me, man. And again, I deal with it to this day, you know, that sense of not being the man that I used to be, not, you know, not being who I used to be, I think is one of the biggest curses for people who lived a certain type of lifestyle. The biggest curse of that lifestyle is you can't live it forever. And you're one day always going to have to come to terms with you just aren't that motherfucker anymore. And that's a really hard pill to swallow. And I don't think you can ever fully get rid of that. You learn to deal with it, and you learn to find new purpose, like we talked about, whether it's with my son, whether it's with jiu-jitsu, but it's very hard to not feel that way. And so that first year, before I found Revive, I was really struggling with mental health. And that's why I say jiu-jitsu has been such an insanely incredible thing in my life. And again, like I said, to this day, it's a constant struggle. Especially, I think it's one of the main reasons why I want to open up a gym, besides the main reason of wanting to have a positive impact on people's life. And I mean that sincerely. That is the fulfillment that I get out of teaching at Revive now, and having my set of guys and like helping them get better, and not just helping them get better at jiu-jitsu. I love that, helping them in every aspect of their life. I just posted a story the other day of this guy that I follow. I think it's like Thanos BJJ or something like that. And he was talking about how, what he loves about jiu-jitsu is the community and us being there for each other and the mental health aspect. And that doesn't have to be what it is for you. You can just come do jiu-jitsu and leave. That's fine. But for me, being there with a community and being able to be a support system for others, that's one of the biggest things that gives me fulfillment in my life. And so that's that's how I try and counter this constant feeling of not being who I used to be. But it'll always be there. And I think you can't live that life and not deal with that. You know what I mean? Because it is going to come to an end one day. So, I just constantly try and find ways to find not to sound corny about it, but find a new mission. You know what I mean? Find a new purpose, because I could go back to that life. Shit, I still get hit up about going. I got hit up a couple of years ago to go to Libya. I get hit up to go to all, and the one for Libya was like $1,000 a day. And I was like, babe, it's for like 3 weeks and it's $1,000 a day. And she goes, well, you can go, but we're not going to be here when you get back, motherfucker. So, and she's exactly right. And I could never actually have done it, but that $1,000 a day.
Right.
And that just, that feeling of being who the fuck I used to be, I mean, doing something greater than yourself, being a part of something greater than myself is I think we all need that. You know what I mean? And no matter what that is in your life, I think it's a very important thing to find. Find something that you're living for that's greater than you. And it's what helps give us purpose. And so, I would have loved to have gone back to that life, but for my son to grow up without a father because I could not do it one more time and I end up getting fucking smoked. What the fuck, like what kind of selfish shit is that? You know what I mean? And that's always how it happens. It's always, and I'm sure this is just a superstitious thing that we have all created, us guys that did that, but it's always right before you're about to go home, that one last time you go back, it's always that. Walt is a perfect example of that. He was done for good. His wife had an incredible landscaping business that she built herself and went from helping one of their neighbors to an organization she ended up selling for like $2 or $3 million.
Oh, wow.
And he could have been done. And he stayed for like 2 extra months because he didn't want us to be down a guy. And that's when he got killed. And, so for me, as much as I would love to live that life, I can't go back to that, man. You know what I mean? And again, I lived I had enough excitement for 20 lifetimes, man. Like I should, again, I could tell you a million stories about crazy shit, especially that time when me and Liz had gotten to know each other and were dating and then got married and everything. Contracting had started somewhat dying down. And so it was like these oddball things. And, we could tell this, I could tell the story some other time, but basically, I got hit up on 24 hours notice to go to Indonesia. Basically there was I was supposed to be doing protection or potentially getting hired to do protection work for this high level like producer at MGM or this high level person at MGM. And their vetting for that was me to go do these site surveys in Indonesia. So before I tell the story, it was all bullshit. So it ended up being a complete scam. My company got scammed. And so you could actually, I think they just did a documentary about this person. Oh. So yeah, there's a few things that I've done that they've now done documentaries. So got Peter Nygaard we could talk about as well. If there's a whole documentary series of him on Discovery Plus, they say he's worse than Epstein. He had an island, and I was doing the witness protection for the women, and one of the guys that filmed a lot of the stuff unknowingly to Peter Nygaard, that was a huge asset to him finally getting arrested. But anyway, I think it's on HBO. There's a documentary about this lady, and she was so good at what she did. She was able to get through 3 different sources, including like 1 or 2 generals, to vouch for her before she got to my company. And so how this stuff is done usually when it comes to contracting is the work is done up front, the company up fronts the money, and then the client, they bill the client, right? And so that's exactly how she ran it. And so basically they flew me to Indonesia. Everything had to be done in cash. And all the people that we were giving cash to were ultimately her people.
Oh, wow.
And so I go and I do this. She has these certain areas that I'm supposed to do because they say that they're going to be doing this Netflix documentary that is going to be in Indonesia. And they want me to go do the site surveys for it. And which, again, how good she was. We looked all this stuff up. Me and my wife even looked all this stuff. MGM was involved in a documentary that was happening in Indonesia with Netflix. Like this was all legitimate. I mean, it looked legitimate. And so I go do all these different site surveys, 9 hours away. So I was in Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia, and I went out I'll have to show you guys some of the pictures, 9 hours out to this active volcano to do this site survey for where one of their sites were going to be. And I'm with this fucking guy that speaks no English. And that was part of my vetting, was to how can I handle
not being able to speak the language. And
I had no idea until I started talking to him that he wasn't going to be able to speak English. So like on the fly, I quickly downloaded a fucking translator app, and I'm trying to talk to this guy, and come to find out again, it's her people. So I'm driving out to the middle of fucking nowhere with this guy for 9 hours out to fucking some volcano. And then we had to drive 9 hours back. I'm with this guy all day. And I had to, not to jump back a little bit, but I had mentioned to the owner of the company that something seemed fishy. There was something about this lady that seemed off. And I wanted to make them aware that something didn't seem right. So I told them this. And so again, I go do all this stuff. I come back, it's like 2 a.m. and I write up my site surveys. I send them off. I go to bed to get a couple hours of sleep. I wake up and I call the guy, the head of the company at the time. And he goes, "Hey man, a lot's happened since you went to bed." And so basically, because I said to them that something seemed off, the 2 transactions that she had made to give them money that normally wouldn't have ran till Monday, they went ahead and got access and got them ran during the weekend. And they weren't real transactions. There was no actual money there. And so they dug into it further, and they found out that she is a complete scam artist. And so I got to get my shit. And they got to get me on a plane back out of there. So I get my shit together. I'm headed downstairs. I go to leave, and this fucking dude is pulling up to pick me up. And he starts screaming at me and basically running me down. And I fucking hopped into the taxi and told the taxi driver to take the fuck off. This guy starts chasing us down. And so we're running through the city, and just like I think every third world country, is just the traffic in the major cities is fucking horrible. I mean, they'll take a 2-lane road and turn it into an 8-lane road. It's one of the things that you'll see in Kabul all the time. It's fucking horrible. So he's like chasing me through this fucking traffic, or following us through this traffic, and we finally lose him. I use my because in Indonesia, what I learned is no one fucking speaks English. It is not a country that you can go to and be lucky enough that people speak English. So I'm trying to talk to this guy to get him to take me to this place that I thought was the embassy. Was not the fucking embassy. He drops me off in the middle of fucking nowhere. I go up to this fucking back door, and I knock on the door, and they're like, "No, this is like an annex of the embassy. This isn't the embassy. You're going to need to go here." So now I'm just out in the middle of the fucking city and have no idea where to go. And luckily, again, it ended up being fine. I found this Marriott hotel that was for expats. They had a ton of security. And so I got in there, stayed the night, got on a plane, and got the fuck out of there. But it was a fucking gnarly experience. Ultimately, for me, I still got paid, and I got to have a fucking gnarly adventure in fucking Indonesia. But
how long were you there?
I want to say I was there for like 72 hours or so. Yeah. It was supposed to be a long, because I was supposed to go to, I think it was Bali afterwards. It was supposed to be this long thing where I did these multiple site surveys.
But then you found out it was bullshit.
It was all bullshit, and they got me the fuck out of there. But yeah, it was fucking gnarly, man. It was fucking,
holy shit.
It was a gnarly situation. Same thing. I had another one on, again, 12-hour notice. I went to a place called Dominica. Again, just to show how stupid I am, I thought they were talking about the Dominican Republic when they first told me about it, because I had never fucking heard. But Dominica is a very small island down like kind of by the Bahamas and all that kind of area. And it was right after we had those hurricanes in 2017, those major hurricanes, and the island got obliterated by a Cat 5 hurricane. And so we went down there to do some search and rescue shit. And that was another just random gnarly experience. I fucking flew from St. Louis to Miami, hopped on a G4 private jet from Miami to St. Martinique, got into St. Martinique, got on a little yacht, took the yacht from there to Dominica. And when we pulled up there, we hopped on this little fucking, one of them little inflatable boats and pulled up to the fucking thing. And I remember it being fucking hilarious. We pulled up to the customs agent, and this fucking guy is just sitting there with his feet up on the table, drinking a whiskey. And we all look at him and he looks at us, and we're just like, all right. And just kept fucking walking. Literally didn't give a fuck that we were there at all in any way, which was such a stark contrast, because when we left, we actually had to fucking get fake. We had to get someone to get us stamps, like entry stamps, because we wouldn't have been able to get back out. Like they had everything up and running by the time we left. And so, yeah, we just did this search and rescue. So we got hired. The company that I was working for got hired by Scotia Bank. It's a Canadian bank. And so they had a few banks there. And so we got hired to get their people. And so ultimately what we did when we got there is we had a general layout of where these people might be. And we just started looking for them. Once we found them, then we set up basically operations to start bringing them food and start helping with medical aid. We had, 18 Deltas with us, which are SF medics. And we had a bunch of guys with us to kind of help these people in any way we can. Fuck, at one point we were repairing roofs on one of the ladies' houses. Like we were doing anything and everything we could. Yeah. One of the coolest things about that situation was how fucking cool the people were. Now, I will say there was some bad stuff, obviously, that happened. There was so in the midst of doing all this, we're walking down these roads in the city, and all of a sudden these two young kids, two young white girls show up, and this is down in the Dominican. So again, that's out of place. Yeah. Right. They stand out, and they come running up to us, and come to find out they're college students that are down there doing their doctorate program in Dominica because it's so much cheaper down there. And they come running up to us, and apparently their experience the night before was fucking horrible. Obviously the hurricane, but not only the hurricane, then people were trying to get into their house. It was really fucking bad for them. So one of the really cool things that ended up happening from that is we were able to call back to hire from our company, and we got authorization to get all of them out of there too. So we ended up helping like 20 college students that were just stuck on this island. They had called, a bunch of them were Canadians. They had called their Canadian government. The Canadian government didn't give a fuck. They weren't coming. No one was coming to get these poor kids. And so we ended up getting them, and we got them out on a boat and everything like that. It was really cool that we were able to help them. I got a cool picture where we all got together and fucking got a picture together. I'm still in contact with some of them.
That's so cool.
But other than what they went through, what I thought was really cool is the interactions that we had were extremely opposite of that. These people are struggling, man.
Yeah, they're happy to see you.
Yeah, but like offering us food, offering us water. It's like, man, you guys are the ones that your homes, you just lost your fucking homes, and they're offering stuff to us. So I just thought that was, that's obviously there's always going to be bad people everywhere. There's horrible fuckheads everywhere. But I think that's something cool about humans is most of the time, the majority of your people in those horrible situations come together. And instead of tearing each other apart, everybody gets closer together. And it was just really cool to see that. We were nobody to them. And for them to offer us food and everything, it was a really cool experience. So we were there for, I think, about 2 weeks, got everybody rescued. Some were there. We did end up finding some dead bodies. It was, obviously, again, the problem with a place like that is the structures are not well made either. So that that hurricane devastated that place. I mean, literally, and it's such a small island, it damn near devastated the entire island. So that was another just random fucking.
I feel like you, Dan. I feel like you just got stories for days. I mean, man,
yeah, because that's not even touching on
times, man. This is yeah. Because I mean, we're at what?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, almost. I think it might be our longest episode.
So I do a bunch of fucking rambling, man.
No, it's great.
It's amazing. I just don't want our cameras to die on us, but, because they don't stay on forever.
Yeah,
no. This has been amazing having you here. We've really, really enjoyed this conversation. Is there anything you wanted to talk about before we get you out of here?
No, man. I think I just want to thank you guys seriously for letting me come talk to you guys, man. I really appreciate it, man. And just being able to do this, and hopefully I was not boring for people to listen to, man.
Not at all.
Definitely not.
So thank you guys.
I'm sitting here just mesmerized by your stories. Like, this is
insane.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It was an interesting life, man. I was very fortunate to do some cool stuff.
Well, we're fortunate to have you back here with us. It's awesome. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks,
for sure. And we end the show the same way every time. So before we get you out of here,
we'll play a little game. We call it the Tombstone game.
All right.
Here's Dan. What's it say on your tombstone?
Oh, that I was a good father. I think, I think that's, again, like we talked about, that is, and I know obviously this is kind of getting away from the point, but that I was a good man, and that I was positive in people's lives. I think that's one of the most important things as I get older in my life that's important to me.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Perfect, man.
Love it, man.
Yeah,
thanks again so much. This was a blast. And thanks to everybody at home that was watching or listening to this episode. Please click that subscribe button for us if you haven't done so already. That would help us out a ton. Pat and I are trying to get to 500 subscribers on YouTube before the end of 2025. So click that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. Comment what you thought below, and we will see you next time.